Hey, church, this is Vince Miller. Thank you so much for joining me for another devotional. And thank you to every one of you who have pre-ordered a copy of my new devotional book on the book of Proverbs. You have no idea how much that helps out our ministry when you pre-order a book. It does wonders for the things that we're trying to accomplish here. So if you haven't done so already, please, I want to encourage you to buy one or many for people that you know. Today we're going to be in John chapter 15, verses 6 through 8. Remember, Jesus is talking with his closest disciples, only 11 of them, because Judas has left the room. And then he says, if anyone does not abide in me, he is thrown away like a branch and withers, and the branches are gathered and thrown into the fire and burned. How about that? If you abide in me and my words abide in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit and so prove to be my disciples. Now, fellas, I got to say this because it's so important, but when discipling someone, you need to tell them what to do and what not to do. In addition, you should show them the outcomes of both. And I call this playing the tape forward. And that's what Jesus does so well as a disciple maker. He plays the tape all the way forward. He plays the tape forward, the metaphor forward, the story forward, the choices all the way out so that we can see the good news and also the inescapable bad news that goes with that. Now, some believing people, parents, teachers, pastors, etc., they fail to do this. They spend far too much time focusing on everything that's great about abiding in Jesus and about Jesus, but completely avoid addressing the negative consequences of not abiding. And most who do this do so out of fear and concern that negative information might alienate and scare people away. But Jesus never, ever, ever, ever did this. This was because doing so would dilute or water down the good news, because it would fail to tell people about the victory over all the bad news, driving people then to an incomplete understanding of who he was and the gospel truth. Now, let me give you an example of this, a very recent one. It's the He Gets Us campaign. You've probably seen the He Gets Us advertising campaign, very artistic and yet cryptic commercials. And their stated goal is this. It's to reintroduce people to Jesus, the Jesus of the Bible, and his confounding love and forgiveness. And I want you guys to know, I'm not against any kind of marketing campaign that wants to talk about Jesus, but I am against one that presents an inaccurate or incomplete message about him, leading people actually further away from him. And in my opinion, that's exactly what this marketing campaign does. It's just a new version of what the church has been doing wrong for decades, presenting Jesus and the gospel and just parts of him. We've been telling people only the part about Jesus that we like. We tell people that he's loving and he's forgiving, but we don't tell them that they're sinners who are fruitless, withered, pruned, gathered, and thrown into a fire without him. And this is untruth, and it is very, very unloving. You know, the church has been withholding the whole truth, I think, for too long. And I think it's time to put an end to this. So if you are a believer, I want you to know it's your responsibility to play the tape forward for people, which means telling them the whole truth, both about the love and the judgment of Jesus. And failing to do so is a failure in discipleship. By only sharing about a loving and forgiving Savior, you're not helping the gospel or people. In fact, the gospel doesn't need your help, because your help might hurt it. Your role is to convey the message as it is, and attempting to help the gospel by limiting or softening the message might actually hurt people and, unfortunately, send them to hell. So don't do that today. In fact, today I put down 6 concerns that I have about the He Gets Us campaign and what I think they get wrong. You might want to read those below. And with that, I want you to know I love you, but you need to know the truth as well. So if this has blessed you, share it with someone else, and I'll see you right back here again.